Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology or S2T. Hopefully you guys can hear me and watch stream properly. There is now 20 seconds delay. YouTube was experimenting with low latency, but I think they have removed it. So I'm waiting for confirmation from incognito window to figure out whether it's actually working. Or if anybody of you are in available in chat, you can also type in. So because I'm getting viewers waiting, I'm like, okay, the connection is live. Anyone can just type in yes AV, yes audio video, so I will know whether the stream is active or not. Okay, so stream has started. I'm just gonna assume the best, that things are working and everybody can hear me and look at me precisely. Okay, so let's have a first most important talk of basically Starship fourth flight. I did a live stream for it, but I'm not gonna share here because it's in Hindi. But it was a very mind-boggling experience, and this is the first time Starship was thoroughly verified, thoroughly vetted, so to say. So meaning Starship could not had a better scenario for this. It's like, why is that? Well, here's the Starship has two main characteristics that is different from every other system, specifically space shuttle. So first, it's a blunt body re-entry, meaning it's just a tube. You look out from it, right? You look into it, it's just a freaking tube. It does not have like, cool aerodynamic surfaces like Buran or space shuttle. It's just like a tube. So why is that? Well, it's using blunt body re-entry dynamics, meaning when you have a blunt body, it has low control. That's the side effect. Good news is that shock wave that it creates is much further away. So if you have an aerodynamic shape, so let's say this is space shuttle's body, so this is where your shock diamond would be, like where your maximum heating is happening. And now this is giving up the most of the basically photon based heating, so to say, so radiative heating. So you have a space shuttle's main surface and this is higher, but if you have a blunt body, basically just a tube, the shock would be much further away. Now how further away? Again, people who are doing basically a complex aerodynamic simulation, they can tell you what would be the difference, but that gives you a buffer, that gives you a basically brute force buffer where it's like, no, you shall not come too close to it. So even though you are re-entering it, your thermal loading would be a bit less, not too much less, like the energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So you're not just poof, there is no energy there. It's just dissipating it is a bit easier. On top of that, the second metric that they have tested is stainless steel. Now be mindful, if you are familiar with rockets, you know for a fact that most rockets are made out of what we call lithium aluminum alloy. So lithium aluminum alloy is expensive AF, meaning it's so expensive you don't even talk about it. Basically, it's one of those things where it's like if you have to ask the price, you cannot afford it. So compare that to basic stainless steel. And yes, it's a basic stainless steel, meaning you can just pick up a phone and order people and they're going to give you the roll of stainless steel that SpaceX is using. It's not custom. It's a, again, proprietary mix is, it sounds funny, but it's all of the, at the other end of the day, it's just like, yeah, is this a Chromaoli variant, so to say. Again, there are metallurgists who can specify deeply into this. Oh, this all good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for providing feedback. I actually needed it. Apparently, YouTube has rolled back to that older setting where it was like 20-second of lag. Gwyn, Gwyn, Jijin, hello from Alabama, Albania. I think you are from Albania. Are you talking about a country or a state? I think country, right? Anyway, so where were we? Yeah, so that's stainless steel. Now, what is the core difference between stainless steel and aluminum? So, aluminum, lightweight, awesome, but thermal wise, it's super duper useless, meaning you do not actually need to melt it in order to lose structural integrity. Only few hundred degrees Celsius, as in like as low as 300 to 400 degrees Celsius, it becomes warpy. Now, stainless steel can handle that much further away, meaning it can almost touch 600 degrees Celsius before losing structural integrity. And we saw it, like we saw it in live stream. Ship is coming in. Europe. Oh, Albania. So I think you are from that country. Nice, nice, nice. I have international viewer. That's good. Yeah. So basically something bad happened. Either most likely some tiles broke off, or the aerodynamic sealing was not as good as they were expecting. Gases started to enter a place where it was like not working out, and it started to melt. Right? We saw that. But here's the deal. Even though that happened, right? That's a real thing. We saw the live stream. It happened. It somehow still survived. How the heck that's possible? That's possible because of the two things. The first, blunt body reentry gave it a buffer. Second, stainless steel allowed it to endure that abuse, so to say. Benefit of that was like it survived it. And yes, in the live, it was kind of unclear did they reignited the engine, but after people have clarified that yes, they did reignite the engine. For some reason, the graphics did not communicate that, but you can notice that it was landing on a night part of the planet. But you can see easily see when the ignition sequence happened, you will see a bright flash, and during landing you will see the light plume that is directly proportional to a engine ignition. So that happened, and velocity did drop. So yes, it worked out. So from a testing point of view, this was as good of a testing as it can be done. All with losing one engine booster performed well. Yeah, that's not one engine, two engine failure happened. So let's look at the booster. So booster launch, everything is fine, but the moment booster starts, I think as quick as 3 or 4 seconds, one engine goes YOLO. It's out. Now here's the deal. It's Raptors are far more oomfish compared to all other systems, and is designed in that way. Meaning, it's not Saturn V where one engine failure is like lol done. It's basically a robust system. It has enough redundancy that you can lose one or two engines. So one engine goes away. Now I thought the moment that will happen, the one engine goes away, they will disable another equal engine to that, but they did not do that. That gives some context here. That means they have enough control authority that they do not actually need to do what we call differential balancing. Meaning, if you lose one engine here, you have to do another engine's turn off on the other side. This was done in Energia rocket, right? That's the European, I'm saying, Soviet Union's variant of Saturn V. So N2 rocket, sorry, yeah, N2 rocket. So they had to do that. So if one engine goes away from this side, they had to turn off on the other end. But they did not need to do that in basically SpaceX case, because they had enough. Yeah, three engines max. Yeah, most likely I am also pretty sure there are three. So one engine goes away, all other engine maybe increase their throttle, they increase their throttle, but it was so smooth that nobody even cared. Like people did not notice that engine was off simply because it's just working. And then it just went, okay, so this is the first engine. But everything is fine, everything is dandy, everything is what we call nominal. So is it normal to have a scenario where you have multiple engine, one engine going YOLO? Yes, even in airlines. For example, if you have a jumbo jet, it has four engines generally. And if one engine goes YOLO mid-flight, generally they will not return it. Basically, they're gonna continue to the mission. Mission, I think, like final destination. If second engine goes away, yeah, return to the closest port. But like if you have three engines working, one engine faulty, generally they can continue it. Again, I do not know if the aviation rules have changed, but this is the like craft wise, craft is good. Craft is like, we got this, bro. If you have three engines, you good, you got this. So same thing happens here. SpaceX has enough engines, one engine goes YOLO, they're like, we got this, do not worry about it, we got this. And it was smooth, everything was working fine. So it goes up, does hot stage separation. Again, that was also smooth because they have refined the algorithms here. And then they do the most daring thing, they flip maneuver. Now last time everybody was assuming that flip maneuver caused a lot of sloshing, and it went boom. So that did not happen here. And I think their investigation, we are not getting the whole telemetry. Of course, the live streams are just videos, not telemetry. So we do not have like when they said like they are thinking the fuel filter was clogged, it did not make sense how the heck that could happen, but it was true because they reinforced that part, and voila, the engine does full basically the booster does full flip over, nothing bad happens. It's like, I got this. It fires its engine, chills the F down, then shuts off the engine, detaches the basically hot jettison stage. Now you may be like, why did they do that? Here's the original design did not intend for it. The original design was you're gonna eat it. Basically, I'm not joking. This was the original design. They're gonna spin it like this and throw the Starship away. They did try that with one, and then they're like, yeah, we were smoking something high quality then. Yeah, this was stupid. So then they added the spacer ring where they can have like hot stage coming out, hot exhaust. Consequence of that, the design was not accounting for that, so they did not have enough margin. Basically, they did not have enough propellant, enough oomph in the engines where they can have that extra 10 ton they added on top to like, okay, they can still do it will fly, no problem, but it will not be able to do boost back. So they had to let go of that weight, let go of that 10-ton extra weight. Now will they fix it? Of course they have to fix it as in like, I'm reasonably sure they may most likely already have a design where they're like, okay, let's build everything with that in mind, and then reduce the weight and make it more efficient. If that is done, that problem will be fixed. But this time, the reason why they did not wanted to risk it is simply because they knew their mathematics was very clear. It's like, if we try this, it's gonna fail simply because the G loading will exceed the expectation, and engine will run out of fuel. It will not decel enough. So they did their best to basically, this was the easiest, cheapest solution where they're like, okay, yeet this part and then just try. So they yeeted the part, they tried. Now here's the, if you watch the live stream, damn, that puppy was like, because again, hypersonic testing we were getting, it was brutal and it just hang on, it's like, "Argh." And this is the first time, and you have to understand, these grid fins are massive. They're like, if I'm not mistaken, size of a bus. It was vibrating like that was like whoa. I'm like whoa, and the software was like I'm like everything was working fine, and then they fire the engine. And here's the, in the call out you can hear it, they said they exceeded 5Gs. 5G of decel was happening. That is brutal. That's why I'm pretty sure if they had the basically the cap on top, that would have increased the G loading to 6 or 7G in order to slow down. So they did that. Engine ignites, one engine goes yeet. This is the second engine failure. So you can see that like it went boom. You can see debris coming out. Engine goes down. But again, this was just for a short duration. So they had other 5 engines that fires. One engine goes boom, shuts off. The 3 engine fires, and it slows down enough. Now, this, from a testing point of view, from a validation point of view, this proves everything. This proves for the fact that they can have one engine going YOLO during takeoff, no issue. One engine going YOLO during landing, no issue. Like, because again, it happened, computer compensated for it, thrust was increased, it landed softly. So I'm like, damn, this was like, from a practical point of view, this is like as good of a testing you can get. It's like, yeah, we said our rocket can handle it. It's like, you built a jumbo jet, everything is fine, everything is dandy. But do you actually know what will happen in real world scenario if you have an engine failure? There is only one way of knowing that. Have that engine failure. They had it. So that proves their design philosophy. And the algorithms, software algorithms managed it quite efficiently. The fins were holding like there was no, yeah, that's like, it was amazing. The fins were like whoa. And again, I'm not shocked, you are talking about like a giant structure decelerating at 5G with a single axle. Yeah, I'm like, I was surprised that it did not broke off. So that was there. Considering SpaceX successfully conducted manned mission to Mars, how long will it take to terraform Mars, and is there in the checkpoints? No, as of now, right now, you are getting a bit too carried away. First, let's be real. Okay, let's be real. Can SpaceX take care of low Earth orbit? Yeah, they got this. No problem. Like, just shut up, take money, got this. Done, sorted. What about anything above that? Yeah, no. No. The primary design flaw in Starship is that it does not have a third stage. Like, I genuinely do not know how the heck nobody from NASA bitch slapped them. It's like Saturn V was two-stage rocket. The payload was the third stage. You're supposed to have a third stage. And again, if you want like maximum capacity, just do not want the same capacity as Saturn V, you take two-stage rockets, right? Like normal two Starships. You launch one that has the payload, right? The payload could be 100 tons plus all the propellant for fine tuning, basically your thrusters and all that. So you have not the main propellant, you have not the main engines, just the thrusters and the main core payload that you want to send to geostationary or to lunar orbit. Okay, so that's your one launch. Second launch would be just a fully loaded third stage, and you dock these two puppies. Done. And how the heck people are so hell bent on this brain damage idea where it's like, we gotta refill this puppy 11 times. It's like, dude, just put a third stage. Just put a third stage. You will get the exact same thing. And you will not have to waste a giant second stage into orbit. And not to mention, you have to launch so much. The propellant cost alone would be bonkers. The pollution alone would be bonkers. Like, just two launches. One with the rocket stage, that is just packing as a third stage, another just the payload that you want to do. That would be much better design philosophy. And again, we know this is how it's done, this is the only way it was done. So I have no idea why the heck they are forced stuck on that, like, we gotta refuel it. It's like, you do not need to. You don't need to, my man. You don't need to. Just put a third stage. Two launches. One that basically has the rocket part, one the payload part. You dock these two in space, you're done. Go home. Do not worry about it. You do not have to build a refueling station and then do refilling or nothing. Just basic docking. Done. So that is the biggest design flaw. That's why they cannot even do moon properly. Meaning, would they moon missions? Expect 2030s, as in later 30s, to actually happen. So that's the reason Mars is like a too far away, because that's the design flaw. So he's just showing animation where it's like, oh, we're gonna take it to Mars. Yeah, no. You're gonna burn the atmosphere just by requiring the refillings. It's the only way we can do proper mission if we have third stage, and the only way we can take care of Mars, not in mission wise. Like, we can do missions where we go tweet, like actual, like we have a highway to Mars. For that requirement, you have to have a proper infrastructure on moon. So you can use moon as a what you call propellant depot, and for other services also. Then you can see a future where we have a true Mars mission. Right now we are not there yet. So best case scenario is that in our lifetime, assuming slowdown and all that, you can expect lunar mission properly happening, and properly having a lunar outpost where you can just have people sitting there. It's like, yo, people are there 24 into 7 into 365. Hopefully like a coalition, exactly like we have with the ISS, but with far more people frequenting now. Then we slowly start to build the base. Then I can see a future where Mars mission is not just like lol, like no, Mars is an actual scenario. But without third stage, yeah, good luck. I have no idea why the heck this is happening. Like, I'm genuinely shocked. People are like, yeah, we're gonna refill it 15 times. It's like, just because you can do that does not mean you should do that, right? Imagine it this way. Like, let's say 10 launches, right? Let's be hyper optimistic. You need 10 launches to refill it. How about you do the what simple people did? Put third stage. Okay. How about you do five missions with two launches each? One launch carries the basically rocket, another carries the payload. You dock them in the space. Both are 100-ton object. So you are talking about like at least 200-ton, a very capable mission. Be mindful, Saturn V can only do 150-ton. So 200-ton is more than enough to do far more comfortably. Whereas like, bro, we got this. We have space, we have room, we have maneuverability, we have redundancy. You can do all of that with today's technology. No refilling required. So that's one of the things. Anurag Sham, hi, hello to you. So, what are your thoughts on NASA's new Pulse Plasma rocket engine? You think is game changer? Most likely, any engines are not game changers. The game changers do not happen in real life. Like iron engines supposed to be game changer. We used it. There was no game changer. Like in real life, it does not work that way. Game changer. It's most likely a YouTube propaganda from someone. It's like it does not work that way. Unless we have warp drive, nothing will have where it's like, whoa, we changed the game. Because seriously, there are some ion engines that are genuinely very high power, but it cannot be used. Why? It requires a nuclear reactor in space. And again, if you watch the Martian movie, they were talking about that. It's like they have a reactor. They have giant solar panel. Why they have reactor? Yeah, reactor is needed just to keep that basically ion engines running. So again, can it be done easily? Can it be done within budget? Hell no. So that's why, like, whenever it's like detonation engine is gonna change the world, no. We're gonna have plasma engines. It's like no. Like right now, the best I can hope is that somebody bitch slaps SpaceX or NASA and is like, bro, put a freaking third stage. Put a freaking third stage. Again, do not try to put everything in a 100-ton, let's just say. Have two of them. One just the propellant puppy and one the payload. Done. Dock it, done. So unless that happens, there is no way of doing basically lunar mission, because here's the deal, just calculate the propellant cost, calculate the area cost that you have to do. That steps, even if your rocket is like reusable, you have to understand rockets do not have the same lifespan as basically commercial airlines. Commercial airlines can, let's say, take off of land and like, let's say, 2000 times, right? Again, I do not know that how close that number is, but if you take that and you're just like, we're gonna do this, it's like, why? Right? Just because you can do it, why? Just put a third stage. You think they will launch every month now, like Persistent SpaceX said? No, most likely not. Starship, no. Starship, there is no sense because Starship still needs cooking. It needs cooking. Be mindful, as a rocket, as a payload to orbit, it's done. As a payload to orbit, because from last 3 times they are reaching orbit. So that part is sorted. Again, every other rocket is just use and throw, so they are already 100-ton to low Earth orbit. Again, I do understand they are not reaching the 100-ton yet, but again, I said that because they are so hardware rich, their hardware that they are flying is already outdated. They already have built a newer, better variant, so they are just bulk testing all the data. And the reason why they are doing this approach is simply because when you are tested, bulk tested, you find way more flaws than you can ever imagine. If you're like, okay, we're gonna make the heat shield perfect and everybody's working their ass off, everybody is doing fluid simulations and you're doing small scale testings and all that, everybody's working their ass off, like you will most likely reach a point where you have one good heat shield. But if you do brute force it, just like, hey, throw whatever we have, throw in the space and see whether it works or not, you get exponentially more data on all other systems. Meaning, for example, imagine NASA, basically SpaceX did that. They worked their ass off on heat shield. They would not have noticed that basically their thrusters on Starships were vulnerable to freezing. But they figured it out in the third mission, where it's like, oh, why the heck it's tumbling? Because the nozzles were frozen. So this time they fixed that part. And again, there are many small tweaks where it's like, okay, this was an issue, this was an issue. So this is expensive approach of getting things done, but it is much faster, and it's allowing them to iterate all vectors simultaneously. Meaning, I can guarantee you there are 10 engineers sitting there, oh, yeah, this effed up, man. So we need to change this vector in the next launch. Okay, this is not gonna work. Again, for you and me, it's just like minor changes. For them, it could be like hundreds of procedures that they are changing. So this approach do allows them to, I would expect by 2025 end, they should have a proper mission to low Earth orbit without an issue. Not to the moon. Moon part is like lol. The moment they will start to try to refill, I'm like lol. Again, be mindful. It can be done. It's just that it will cost so much that even government would be like, do we really need to? So that's why. Yeah. What about nuclear propulsion to launch? I mean, it can be done. It's just not desirable. It's not like whoa. It's not like you're going from specific impulse of, let's say, upper 300 to 400 to 3000. You are barely going from 3 to 400 to 900. Now, is it significant? Yes. Is it significant enough to risk a nuclear system? No. It's one of those. Again, it can be done. We have done it. It's like, in the past there were nuclear powered satellites. It's a common thing. Soviet Union had it, America had it. It's a common thing. It's just like not worth it. So economically, that's why I always say physics, engineering, economics. Economics are like with nuclear is just like nah. Can we try it? Of course we can try it, but it's like is Sea Dragon like a rocket even possible? If it is, why no one tries to build 500 ton to low Earth, or why Starship? Why not this way? Here's the deal. Uh, just because you can build it does not mean people will pay for it. Let that be very clear. Just because you can build it, people will not pay for it. For example, nobody paid for Concorde. Concorde was a plane. It worked. It flew. It has a safety record. And yes, it had two major incidents, if I'm not mistaken, where basically tire exploded, uh, damaged wiring, damaged a fuel line, electrical wiring, fire damaged. So again, with all that aside, all other planes also have it. Like there is accident list on all other planes. But why did Concorde did not survive? Simply because people were not willing to pay for it. The privilege, like the tickets were like so expensive, and because only few people could afford it, and these people were like what we call VVIP, very very important person. They had to keep a Concorde in backup. They had to keep a Concorde in backup, where it's like, because again, these people, you do not want to delay them, and again, there are only few people who could afford it, so they were like, okay, if you have these people, we're gonna make sure that it flies. So Concorde main war works, okay. If does not work, they go through backup one. So that's the whole point. Just because you can build it does not mean anybody will pay for it. Right now, we have a right circumstances where Starship could be a good vehicle for lunar mission. Again, without third stage, I do not see how the heck it's working. Other than that, Starship, the sole reason why Starship is being built is Starlink. Starlink needs Starship. Starlink is a product that is incomplete without Starship. Without Starship, Starlink can never be economically viable. Right now, it's profitable. Profitable simply means annually it's creating a bit more money than it's consuming. But to be viable economically, they have to pay off all their debts. That has not been done yet. And again, it will not be done unless they have a giant satellite with giant throughput and they can last much longer. All of those things require much bigger launch vehicle. So only Starship can fulfill Starlink, and Starlink can make enough money to justify its existence. That's why you have to understand. Which would do more powerful, third stage or refueled second stage? Third stage, because again, refueling, you have to don't count it. Basically, you are not counting that I'm launching 15 rockets to do this small thing. Only then you can make sense of it. And be mindful, what are you sending? Still a 100-ton payload. See what I'm saying? You launch two Starships, right? 100-ton payload, 100-ton rocket. You attach that. You have 200-ton object, which is fully fueled. You go. What do you do with current stupid design where you have Starship going up? Okay, awesome. Very good vehicle for low Earth orbit. What you do? You start to refuel it again, again, again. But here's the deal, payload is not changing. So if payload was 100 tons, you are still stuck at 100 tons. You are just refueling it 15 times and then you launch it. So you are still a stupid thing. That's why that's genuinely fundamentally third stage is better design, fundamentally on law of physics kind of scenario. So generally doesn't make sense. So you made a video on AI regulations and dreams, but you didn't provide any suggestion regarding the regulations. Yeah, the reason I'm not talking about. Oh, you repeated the. Sorry, I missed it the first time. Uh, yeah, the regulation of AI part is that we have almost basically this is how I describe human life in three phases. You have child 0 to 30, adult 30 to 60, old 60 to 90, 60 to death basically. So old people should not be in the position of controlling the steering wheel of a country. They should not be, just should not be, because that says two very bad things. First, you do not accept biology, the fact that human neurology becomes basically what you call hardened. So by the time you are in your 60s, you genuinely cannot adopt anymore. Like you reached a point. Now, of course, somebody will say, oh, this individual could die. Of course, predal distribution accounts for that. Of course, you will have one or two people who are that good. But would like if it takes 10,000 bureaucrats to run a country, would you risk to say that all 10,000 people would be like that? Hell no. Look around us. Look around us. What we have people. People don't understand technology, let alone internet properly. Why? They did not grow up with it. So that creates a biological bottleneck where you literally have dumb people. Dumb as in like they are so out of touch. They are so out of context. They cannot regulate it reliably. I'm not joking. During the communication hassle that we had, what we call net neutrality, India was governed by the protocol that was written for tar, as in the telegram. Titu, 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 titu. Yeah, that telegram that was used for Morse code, that was the building foundation of internet rule book in India. That's the reason you cannot have old people in the steering wheel position. And that's just from a physical point of view. Second point is, if you have such a old people going there, like people 90 years old or 95 years old are dealing with this, that flat out says that there is no competent individual in your country. Like you are flat out saying to collective is like nobody in my country can actually do anything worthwhile. So that's the reason why I cannot viably see a way of taking care of AI, because the people who are pioneering it, they are moving way too fast. People who are ancient, they are barely reaching to information technology level. So this disconnect gives the pioneers a way too much unfair advantage, where they can destroy far more things than they can rebuild. So and one core part is like there is a one other gentleman, a bald gentleman, who talks about like America has kind of like broken the contract between the old and the young. So always the idea was that old will work their ass off to make sure the young gets a better life, and again young will, when they will become old, they will repeat the cycle. Somewhere around basically recent modern-ish time, 1990s I would say, this contract was broken. So old are now becoming transferring wealth from the younglings to themselves. And like again he goes into mathematics, science and all that, and yeah, I knew it, like, but I never truly understood why did it happen until I like started to understand family structures, unless I started to understand that yeah, that's the exact time when family structures started to fall apart. So these people genuinely do not even give a damn. They do not give a damn. Like Joe Biden does not give a damn about his kids because he does not even know whose kids are. And like again Joe Biden, this guy, what is the different guy? He's already divorced, if I'm not mistaken, one time or two times. So, and again, look at all these senators. They are like all divorced. Of course, they do not care about the future because, again, once you divorce it, once you remove the child, once you're like ex-wife, wife becomes ex-wife, is she's just an alimony. Children are just burden for you. It's not your children anymore. If you need to go through court system to see your own child, it's not your child anymore. So I could see why emotionally over time, that's very correct. It will not happen 1990, this happened, boom, everything will fall apart. But over time, it will create a scenario where it's like, I don't care, bro, you are 18 plus, deal with it. It's like this viciousness has gotten out of hand, so to say. That's why I'm not so confident about the future. Not because of like that we have any problem to solve. It's just that we no longer have a familiar structure to ground us. Our politicians who don't understand internet well, how can they understand AI and other rocket technology? Yeah. Oh yeah, Donald Trump. I was talking about Donald Trump. Yeah, that's a genuine scenario where it's like we have to put expiry dates on basically age, so to say. Basically, you have to be under 60, under 50, basically, to do anything. If you're reaching 60 plus, yeah, bye, sir. 65 maximum, maximum 65. I mean, like, think about this way. If you look into what the US average age is, let's just do it right now. Let's do it. This is a very amazing idea. Let's just do it right now. US average lifespan. It's 76 years old, right? US has 76 years old average life expectancy. Joe Biden is older than that. Literally, what is the age of Joe Biden? Biden. Joe Biden's age. Joe Biden is 81, man. How the heck a 81-year-old can control a country that's literally average life expectancy is 76 years old? Think about it. Think about it. Do we need an all Indian service to advertise to government how to deal with technology across the board at all levels? See, they will not, they don't want to. That's why, like, unless you can remove old people like very thoroughly, where it's like, okay, you're old, like exactly how it happens in private job. Where it's like, bro, you reached a point, yeet. So unless you can brute force it, you can't do that. Like, they will not change. It's like, why would they change? It's like, hey, I'm controlling a goddamn country. Who gives a damn about the young generation? It's like, hey, we suffered so much, so you must suffer 10 times worse than us, and we are taking your future away because you must suffer. It's like, if you have that sort of neurology, it can't be fixed. Because, like, in psychology, we have a very simple saying. It's like, you can only change people if they want to. Like, it's like, who wants change? Everybody wants. Who wants to change? That's a very difficult thing. Same thing. How will jobless world look after AI comes? Again, that will not happen overnight. There is still serious time left, but it could be a shock. It could be a shock. It could be a. I do apologize. My eye is burning. Sorry about that. Uh, yeah. How will jobless will look after that? What are some of the key regulations and policies that are made of basic human needs? How will tax work? Death and taxes are inevitable, right? I do not know. I do not know. Like, genuinely, like, that's the whole problem. Like, if we had, like, 40-year-old people who are in the government, who are writing regulation with AI, there is some probability they will understand technology. If we have 80-year-old, yeah, that's a, like, a pointless thing. But some governance needs experience, so age restriction 50 could happen. No, no, no. See, that's the whole point. How the heck are individuals supposed to, if you need experience, how the heck you are allowing an 18-year-old to cast a vote? Life is not that complex. Life is not that complex. And again, in an adaptive world, you want it out. Like, think about this way. Does your body keeps the old cell alive? No. It eats it. It's like, okay, bro, you were built, you served your function, now your time to self detonate. Literally, there is a timer function built into it. Poof. Then you create a new cell. Again, leaf in a plant. Does a plant keeps hanging on to the leaf where it's like old intelligence, all that? And again, we no longer have to worry about experience that much. Why? We have books. Once we started to create books, we can transfer knowledge. Like, I can study what Newton figured out, I can study what Einstein figured out. And again, these are most complex advanced scientific philosophy. You're telling me that we cannot do that? Oh, this, we did this policy, this is the outcome of it. We need the experience. It's like, it's a fancy way of poisoning our future. Other than that, there is nothing. It's basically burning the younglings just so you can charge the 81-year-olds. So yeah, I disagree with. Look at the Aadhaar tag across the board. Old people implemented it. It does not think of permissive whole government love tax if they can control people with it. It just needs to tell them how. Aadhaar card could have been done as early as 2000. It's way too behind schedule. Way too behind schedule. And again, controlling something and utilizing a technology to properly improve something, yeah, that's a very different thing. And here's the, how many government banks or government associated banks, where you can just go with your Aadhaar card and that creates a bank account? Nothing. Just having something and integrating something into a useful tool, they are two very far apart. Very far apart. And again, look into the every government based system. I'm not joking. This is the reason why India's railway is so ancient, is that locomotive, right? You have locomotive, then you have coaches, and you have bogies. Now bogies are the weak link because you have to have millions of them, right? Bogies, you consume too much of it. So even if a bogie is used for locomotive, they are very special, very expensive. It's manageable because how many locomotives you're gonna have? 40, 50,000. But bogies that you are having for your coaches, you're gonna have, like, two set in every coach, and you can have 12, 13 coach, a lot of them. So a lot of engineers in India, from Indian institutions and from Indian industry, approached railway. It's like, okay, we want to make a very good system for you guys, homemade. But here's the, this is how railway throws it away all the time. Give us 50 years of safety data, only then we can accept it. Now here's the deal. How will you have a safety data of something that has not been built? Now, like, but we can't risk it. Right? It's like, how the heck Japan built it? How the heck Germany built it? Every country goes through the scientific method, does their best, and hopes for the best. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But India is like, we need 50 years, scientific data. It's like, yeah, no. You gonna literally be mindful. The current LFG coaches that are right now, bogies, pardon me, the bogies that are in use right now. I was size. I was literally this size. I saw this in Doordarshan in around 2001, where they're like, finally India is gonna have train that are traveling at 220 kilometers per hour. Never happened. So yeah, tech and integration of tech with like proper modern level. Yeah, no. No, it's like, oh, UPI. UPI is basically some businessman successfully convinced someone in the top end. It's like, hey, if you can transfer directly money to money, people will do that. And they're like, oh. So Notebandi and UPI, they made sure this works. So do not mix that. Like, do not mix those sort of things that should have been done years ago to like, government can use technology. No, they can't. They just can't. And again, I'm not joking. This is India's prime minister. I hope it's a lie. I hope it's a meme. But he was talking about like how this bad weather is really helpful for fighter jet because it stops radar. If he said infrared, I would have actually understood it. But radar, radar can't track you. So be very mindful. If sun telescope, solar telescope can imagine prime 100 light years clear as satellite in the low Earth orbit, why not? Yeah, that's a BS. That cannot be done. Law of physics does not allow you to picture something that clearly. Somebody exaggerated way too much and you just actually believed it. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. The best you can see is a fudgy dot. You cannot have light going through that much time, like 100 light years. You know how much shifting it would have occurred? Like all the colors will start from blue and they will slowly shift to somewhere in like, blue. Let's look at the rainbow where it will shift. Blue color. Of course, it won't go to full red or infrared because again, we are only talking about 100 light year, but it will shift. And again, dust exists in space also. One molecule per meter square. But again, how many meter cubes are there in 100 light years? More than enough to distort any system. Voting age is 16 in a lot of countries. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, damn. Shift to infrared. Yeah. We afraid of white paper. Yeah, that's the point. That railway one was the most shocking thing to me because again, it on paper it may sound too dumb people or too scared people to say, oh, it's logical. We have to be. Then you think about it. It's like, how did China build its high-speed railway network? They are not buying things from others. They just did their best. They, of course, the design is copied, but again, they tried to build it themselves, had experiments with it, testing it. Some bad things happen, some good things happen. They refined it, polished it, and voila, now they have a system. Japan did the same thing. Germany did the same thing. Germany had a very bad accident with high-speed railway, ice accident. Again, they figured it out. And that's how natural things are. But if you have this approach where it's like, give me 50 years safety data, it's like, just give me the, ancient garbage that are used by like, Britishers. So shift to infrared. No, it won't shift to infrared. Hold on. In 100 light year, it won't go that far. So it will go from basically blue, green, yellow. Blue to green, it will shift. Blue to green, it will shift. Blue to green, it will shift. Right. Just solve for life expectancy. Let's all live us 100 years. The problem will be, and this problem will sort itself out. Yeah, that's not gonna. It's gonna amplify again. You see, whole core of humanity is family unit. Family unit is the cell of a country. If the cell degrades too much, you die. Like there is no two way around it. It's as simple as that. Can you make a video on how India can shift into decentralized power structure for most power will be able to central, state, and local levels, and also modern model work for India? Yeah, those things I do not find interesting simply because it won't be done. It's like I'm screaming into a void. Like here's the for 200 years, humanity have known that the voting system we have is broken. Like it should not be used for more than children, 5 years old or older. Like it should not be 5 years and younger. It should not be used for anything older than that. But we do use it. Like the only place I've seen, like some places in top, where it's like, oh no, now you actually have to have 51% majority. It's like, bro, you have already, garbage in, garbage out will happen also. So it has to be like public has to reach a point where you have alternative voting system. Let's alternative voting system. Like we known this for 200 years. 200 years we have known this, that you should have like, basically rank system, where like that's the easiest to understand, where it's like, okay, this is my first choice, this is my second choice, this is my third choice. And the tally would be done in such a way, not like, okay, who has the 51%. No, no, no. Tally would be done who has 75%. So that will allow far more centralized, far more balanced party to take power. And that will force all the polarization to stop. Because again, you can polarize the hell out of your country, but consequence would be 50% is for you, 50% is against you. You need 75%. So having 75% requirement allows like far more gentle people, people who are like far more adaptive. And this creates four parties, extreme two parties, right and left, and two centralist kind of party. That allows far more better. What's the name of the voting system? Hmm. Single transferable vote. That's the Wikipedia term for it if you want to search it out. Single transferable vote. I'm just sharing it here. Okay. So that again, I have seen some European country doing this with their block level election, which again, it's a very good thing. Again, if somebody in Europe has a long-term plan, that could give Europe a edge that we do not understand. Like their bureaucracy will be like, hey, why bureaucracy is being reduced? Because again, centralist party is coming down. So what if no one gets no, they will get it. That's the whole point. They will get it, and then you redo the election. That's the whole point. Again, polarization is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you only need 51%, you create a very arya par, very polarized outcome. Once you have a party that's like, hey, again, imagine, like, we do not even imagine political conversation that is happening for moderate kind of scenario. Why? Because we know the voting system will not reward it. Once you have that moderate party where it's like, oh, hey, 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 right and left, they are both stupid. Why they are stupid? It's like a steering wheel. Do you have a car that only goes to left? No. Do you have a car that only goes to right? No. You always need to balance it out, where it's like, hey, 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 we need to go here, you go there. Then it's like, hey, hey, let's correct it. Like, yeah, that's how you drive it. You're supposed to be centralized. So this idea of having a country which has right and left, we did. So 70, again, 75% is not necessary. It could be even 90%. But idea is very simple. And again, it transfers. Basically, people's second choice will shift over. Like there is a math to it. It will give you basically the least offensive elective option, sometimes also known as a proportional ranked choice voting. Yeah, I'm not using that name. Single transferable vote. Yeah, that's the most logical one. Single transferable vote. Europe has it. Europe have already implemented it in some places. So I'm sharing the European Union videos with you guys on the chat so you can find it useful. Okay, have a look at this video. Again, CGP Grey made a video about this like 9 years ago. We have known this for 200 years ago. This is a mathematical thing. We know this, that this will never work out, but we do not change it. So if humanity cannot change this, what can we change? So that's the whole point. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk some things. Is that basically this solar that I want to get? It's a off-grid solar. This plan is getting stuck. It's supposed to be done in 3 to 4 days. Basically, I should be like at the last stage of the production, but it's not happening. I bought the panel are there. I bought the inverter, is there. I have the battery there, done. The structure that is needed to be created and mounted on my roof where I can mount the panels, that is taking time. 2 days, barely should take 1 day, but it took 2 days and it's still not been done. Heck, I talked to the installer and they talked about it like, hey, yeah, it will give you by Monday. So that is wasting too much time. And unfortunately, Monday is the day when I make Camera Tuesday and short video. So it will be very frustrating if I have to, if I cannot focus on that. But again, I'll do it. So next week we're gonna have very light video output, and not to mention, because I did 3 live stream last week. One of the NASA's crew launch of a Boeing capsule, Starliner capsule, one SpaceX launch live, and the Saturday's live stream, which just happened 1 hour ago. I did not get time to actually make enough videos. So next week is gonna be very light on videos. I did make a short to make life a bit easier. Which company panel you are buying? I'm buying Wari panel. It's a bifacial and half cut panel, so it should be good. It should be good. Let's see. Warranty is 30 years. So let's see. Again, this is the solar I'm doing is not for home. This is more for testing and just like reducing the electric bill to some extent, because again, it's starting to get out of hand. So if we can reduce the bill to somewhat, it's gonna be good. So that's the aim right now. And so that is taking way too much longer and it's like frustrating. But again, it is what it is. And again, that's the reason why I did not select another panel provider. They said like, yeah, we're gonna get it done in one day. I'm like, no. Anyone in my current location says we're gonna get stuff done in one day, I'm like, yep, I'm out. I'm out. That's just not gonna happen. And I told them, like, my house is like freaking 2 stories tall. You have to have a 3 story tall cable, like 70 foot of 10 mm square cable have to be used so I can connect the solar panel to the inverter. I cannot push the inverter on the rooftop because again the roof gets hot and the inverters, all inverters, unless they are industrial inverter, they are rated for 45 degrees Celsius. Yeah, air temperature is higher than that. So that chimney effect that happens in my place where I can put the inverter, it will fry itself. And again, frying does not mean it will actually blow up. It simply means it will be very inefficient and life would be shortened. So that risk is not worth it. Yeah, cable is very expensive to get that much copper from like a rooftop to a garage where I have to. But let's try it. That's again, we are trying it, we're figuring it out. And they said like 6 square cable should be enough. But if we do not have 6 I was just like, hey, 6 good, but here's the deal. All cables ampere rating is done in 25 degrees Celsius. And I hate Indian government for it. It's like in India, it should be done at 50 degrees Celsius. No BS, no horseshit. Just 50 degrees Celsius. What is the amp rating of the cable? Not 25 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Celsius. So 10 square cable gives me enough breathing room where I do not have to worry about it. And again, I'm limited by the battery. However, I'm very clear about this. Installation charge is killing me. Not the this doesn't matter. Panel expensive, 500 plus watt panels does not matter. Installation, I'm broke. So that part is really frustrating. So that is causing way too much turmoil, which is gonna be like people in my English channel is gonna suffer because of that. I could not upload enough video. And another part is that my electronics project, the few extractor is built, the hardware part is built, done, sorted. I already made videos about it. Is that the electronics I'm working on it, and slowly I reached a point where I realized to control fans I need a dedicated IC, ASIC basically. And thankfully there is ASICs that allow. How efficient is your panel? It should be 15 to 20% efficient. Again, once I get the panel, then I will talk about it. Right now it's just a guess. Because be mindful, the temperature is the biggest issue. They say the output drops based on temperature. What temperature? And again, I hate Indian government for this. 25 degrees Celsius should not be an Indian temperature. It should be at least 45 degrees Celsius. That's the air temperature now. So anything that is in air of 45 degrees Celsius, and again it's facing the sun all the day, yeah, that puppy is gonna be 70 to 80 to 120 degrees Celsius. Yes, that's how hot some cells get. So that's why, like, I genuinely hate Indian government for that. It's like Indian government is verifying all these panels. Why the heck they are verifying based? It's like it's supposed to be in Europe. It's like, bro, 25 degrees Celsius. What are you smoking? So it's one of those things that's causing way too much turmoil. And after that, the issue is that IC that I need to buy. There is DigiKey, there is Mauser. Both are very good vendors. No discussion about it. However, no, hold on. Just I do apologize. Code King, that question has no answer because here's the deal. You have to control the temperature for efficiency. So there are panels that you have water running on the back of it for water heating. Those panels will be far more efficient. Even though on paper they will be less efficient, but in real life your power consumption would be high. And again, where are you? Where are you placing your panels? So that efficiency metric means nothing. And again, at what lumens, as in like what watt per meter square? What happens at like 1500 watts per meter square? What happens at 700? Again, there are curves for it. There is a reason. You cannot just give a number for it. Again, I'll talk in detail about this. Now I'm buying it. There is like a far more exposed. I'm far more exposed to the learnings of it. So I will share all that information with physical things. So that would be a good thing. Although it's taking much longer than anticipated. That's the frustrating part. But again, old saying, you have a plan, life has a plan. My life has this plan. So all that fume extractor, requires a very unique IC. Is from which IC? Let me just tell you the name. DigiKey. So I tried to buy it from DigiKey. It's a EMC 2305. This is the IC that I need for fan controller, because again the IC takes care of the PWM signal generator, takes care of the basically PWM tachometer reader, and using I squared C it can talk to the microcontroller like ESP32. So ESP32 will talk to it and it will control all the fan. That's a proper way of doing it. I did try to do it with raw ESP32. It's just not that robust, I would say. But again, it is what it is. And I tried to buy it from DigiKey, I tried to buy it from Mauser, and they do not accept Indian debit cards. So I'm stuck. I had to bite the bullet and go to a bank and beg for a credit card. And that process is under construction. Let's see what happens and when it happens. But that was genuinely sad. It's like, and again, but DigiKey almost pissed me off because they have a bank that has a ID code for Indian transaction, so I can directly transact that. I give them the money, they return it back, and every time they are having this weird requirement, it's like you have to have this code. It's like, where would I set that code? Where? They do not have an answer for it. It's like, it just have to be this. It's like, what and where? No, this it just have to be. It's like, what and where? What and where? You're just saying that it should have this. Okay, cool, awesome. Like, let me tell you, like, what was the DigiKey? Yeah, no, this is DigiKey. Because again, Mauser, they flat out gave me a bank account. They did not have an Indian transition code, so I could not send money there. But JSLPCB, hold on, DigiKey. Huh. So they give you basically a bank code where I have IFSC code. This is required for Indian money transfer. The money transfer worked. It's just that money transfer was bouncing back. Why it was bouncing back? Hold on, that's what I'm trying to find. I cannot. What the hell? G, uh, okay. Sales. Yeah, I talked about it, but I'm not getting that email. Like, what the hell? Yeah, huh. It says purpose code as S0101. What the hell is purpose code? And there is no application. Like, I have tried two banks account applications, and none of them have this slot where it's like, okay, purpose code, put the purpose code if you are doing international transition. There is no place for it. And it just keeps sending us. It's frustrating. And again, there are other things like ChatGPT also requires credit card only. So I am using my brother at this point in time, but it's not a desirable thing. So I bite the bullet. I'm dealing with all the paperwork of that credit card. Yeah, that's one of those things. I want to start a poly house. Can I make a data logger tool for tracking moisture, temperature, airflow in the poly house? Poly as in like what? I do not get that. Like you can build it data logger easily. That's not the hard part. Hard part would be like building sensors that can work in outdoor temperatures. Can we summer jacket using radiation reflecting tech like you talked about in space cooling? Yeah, but it will not cool you that much because again, the space it barely gives you like 20 watts of energy dump for 1 meter square. Let's say you have a cloth and the cloth is dumping the energy, but unless energy can go somewhere, it won't. So your footprint to sky is the only thing it will help. So sky can barely take what 10 30 5 to 6 watts of heat away, given the fact that your body would be generating 100 watts of heat. It's not that effective. It's not that effective. Yes, it will allow you to not absorb sun's energy as a reflector. It's perfect reflector, but again, there are other things that are reflector. It's just that as a heat dump, heat soak is not going to be very effective. You need very large surface area to have anything. I searched Google, it says it can be up to 30% efficient max. Again, Google is Google. Google is giving you mathematical data. Does that mean will you get it in real life? No, why not? Because again, check all the studies, all the panel, just take a solar panel, look at the back of it. It says 25 degrees Celsius. And again, at 25 degrees Celsius, you're gonna, how the heck you gonna keep your panel at 25 degrees Celsius? So that's the whole point. Do not go in that way. That's why I say it's not that easy. If it were that easy, I could also go Google and give you numbers, man. So all that said, there have been some progress. There is a individual who helped me in my quest to actually figuring out how to build electronics. Ravi helped me out to use easy EDA effectively and make my first schematics. Then made my first PCB. Again, this PCB is not that IC PCB because I do not know whether I will get credit card and I'll be able to buy it. And then when it will come, I do not know. But I did made a board that has MOSFET keys. And basically, I made a better version of this. So from this to this, all the fan outputs, I have made a dedicated board for it. Is almost same size as this one, bit bigger, that I have made, and it breaks out every pin. It breaks out all the PWM pin. It also even has place for dedicated voltage step down converter. We added it at the last minute. Hold on. Yeah. So it no longer has the basically it would be far more useful than this. And once we get that, this would be my first first PCB. And I'm also figuring out a new supplier in India who makes PCB, Lion Circuit. So there is robo.in that also makes PCB small batches, and Ryan Circuit. Right, the difference is Ryan Circuit is much faster. In robo it was saying that they will ship after 20 days. In Ryan Circuit they will ship to me in under 20 days. So that's why I chose that, and price is more or less same. So I'm hopeful I should get five boards out of it. And it's blue color basic stuff, but if it works it would be really good, where I can I can truly move forward in this project. That would be awesome. Many companies stopped producing poly panels. Yeah, poly panels was a stopgap solution where it's like, okay, we need something cheap and best for right now. Once you figured out how to make monopoly, why would you make polo? Like, it does not make sense. And like low light performance, if you really need low light performance, there is different technology, amorphous solar cells that are for low light production. So there was no reason for, and again, from a company's point of view, Uday, I work there. I working in there. Oh, Lion Circuits. Really? Oh, nice, nice. Or what are you talking about? Like I Lion Circuits or DigiKey or Mauser? Mauser was like that did not. DigiKey frustrated me. It's like you took the money. Why you're sending the money back? But such is life. Such is life. That's such is life. So we're gonna figure things out. There's a lot of hassle ahead, but it's why Indian government is failing on semiconductor manufacturing in India. Again, it will always come down to the core fact. We are scared of white paper. If you give an Indian white paper, we cannot work. It's like we cannot build anything from zero. We are very good at, like, if you give us a 1980s design of rocket engine, we're gonna keep working our ass off on it, like we are doing in SCE 200, semi cryogenic 100 to 200 kilonewton. Yes, 200 kilonewton. Lion circuit, yeah. Again, we'll find out. Is it Lion circuit? Very hopeful. I really hope it does show status PCB fabrication in process. So I think it should take what, 2 days, unless you have, like, one day everything is just gonna be like, etching, another day solder mask, another day silk printing on top of what we call silk layer. Yeah, silk layer printing and all that. So unless no, the ISRO have 50 nanometer tech already. Yeah, in a world of 5 nanometer, you're talking about 50 nanometer. Bro, mass production matters. Like, here's the deal. Right now, a lot of inverters, like this inverters, made in India, right? Here's the deal. If I open it up, how many component would be for made in India? Think about it. Component. Not just like, okay, I buy it from Taiwan, I buy from South Korea, I buy from USA, and then I just blah 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 blah, made in India. No, I'm talking component level, meaning you go down to the deepest level. India is ludicrously behind in that. Ludicrously. It's not even funny how behind we are. And we are not behind because we do not have the talent, we do not have the money. We got all of that. It's just that we are scared. So, lobby to yourself. No, the Indian sites have most. Yep. So, yeah. Is there any downside if we remove income tax? No. See, again, Dubai does not have income tax. And again, India does not make that much money from income tax. It makes money from all other taxes. So if you remove income tax, you make people far more, what you call, happy to spend money. If they spend money, money goes back to the economy. Economy grows. That increases profit of the corporates. That increases their tax revenue. That's how Dubai is running. So you don't need income tax. And again, it's so messy, it's so complicated for everyone. Like I paid my CA to do income tax filing just literally a few days ago. I needed that for credit card again. I had to show two years worth. Again, I did not need to show. I just had 2 years of worth of data. So it's like you can buy component also. Like here's the deal. This is the component that I'm talking about. If you can just go through this component, can I buy that component? It's rare and complex. That's why I'm saying it's, I know small MOSFETs and all that I can easily buy, but like rare components, it's like not rare as in like manufacturer, like I, for fan header, right? A header that is dedicatedly made for fans, ATX fans, those are very expensive. Again, I can share the manufacturer part number, and manufacturer is Molex, manufacturer's part number. That IC is more important. I need IC. If I can get that IC, again, if I do not have dedicated one, I can still make do with a DuPont connector, 2.5 mm gap. So gap is the core part. If you have the right gaps, it works. So that's not an issue. But I do need that IC. That IC is that EMC2305-1. That IC I could not find. And again, right now, I have just given a PCB, and then once I'm gonna figure out the PCB system, then we're gonna figure things out. We're gonna see what's what. Anyway, yeah. So, no, let me try it. So this was my update and live stream. I hopefully you guys liked it, learned from it, found something useful, found something funny, and I'm gonna see you next week. And I do apologize. Next week was gonna be a bit light on videos and shorts and all that. But again, such is life. It's not by design. It's just life just threw some wrench in my plans. Anyway, thank you for very amazing, very interesting interactions in the chats. I'm really, really glad that you guys did. And I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye.